How can we be equipped as women and cultivate hospitality in our homes? That's the question we're going to be addressing today on Flourishment. I'm your host, Tina Yeager. And today I have a beautiful guest with me. Her name is Deanna Kane. She co authored a book called Just the Basics Manners Made Easy, and she publishes the Heart of Hospitality magazine, a absolutely beautiful magazine. It is gorgeous. You want to get one for your home. She is the Chief Executive Officer at KC Media Publishing, and she sits on the Mon Ami Board, and she's the Executive Director of Communications and Public Relations with Connection Point Church in Los Angeles. Welcome, Deanna. I am so thrilled to talk with you today on Flourishment during this wonderful season for being more empowered and hospitable.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. It's great to see you again. And I'm so excited to be here.
In this second portion of our conversation with Deanna Kane, I do want to get into some practical ways that we can look at how to be more empowered and equipped as women, and some ways to really be sure that you're creating an environment in your home that welcomes people and helps them to feel loved and feel more comfortable. Give us some ideas of how we can be more empowered and equipped as women to do the everyday things that we need to do.
Absolutely. That is one of actually our more popular areas of the magazine is throughout the issues, you will see that we have our tips pages. So we'll have like hospitality tips or decorating tips or cooking tips or, whatever it is. And it's these great little nuggets of wisdom that we've just accumulated throughout the years that are super quick, super easy. And it's not overwhelming. I know a lot of people will, they try to sell you a product or a service or something. Oh, it's so easy. Anybody can do it, and then you get it and you're like, yeah, it's really not that easy. So we really break things down. So it really is easy and simple. They're not things that you would normally just forget right away. Like a lot of times we'll get information and we go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And I'm going to store that in the back of my brain here. And then we just forget about it. But there are things that you'll think about on a regular basis. One of our tips is, if you want to do a homemade antibacterial cleaner, but you don't want to have all those chemicals, but you do a lot of like lemonades or fruits, you have all kinds of citrus, like lemon or oranges, and you eat those fruits rather than throwing those rinds away. You're going to take those and put them into a jar, fill it up with vinegar, let it set for a couple of weeks, and then strain it and pour it into a spray bottle, and you have an antibacterial liquid that you can spray on your countertops and clean it. And it's homemade, that you made without all those additional chemicals. And I can almost guarantee, Tina, the next time you go to the store and you see lemons or oranges, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember that tip that she said, that I can do this in my home. There are ways of being able to do things in small baby steps. Because like you said, a lot of people are very uncomfortable, inviting people into their home. We talk to people and say, invite people over into your mess. That's okay, because that's what makes it authentic. Like I said, just doing, we call it drive-by hospitality. It could be running through your favorite barista, giving somebody a cup of coffee, dropping it off at their work because they're having a bad day. We do, Mon Ami does this thing called Happy Mondays, which was actually started by Leslie's daughter Isabella. And we'll take a little gift bag and we'll put a little chocolate, a little note in it, and somebody that we know is either struggling or having a hard time or maybe just needs to be celebrated for something that, an accomplishment. And we'll take that little bag and we'll put it on their front porch or hang it on their door. And then we'll take a picture and we'll text it to them. And usually the response is like, is that my front door? And I'm kind of like, well, why don't you go check? And, and it's just a way to show people that you are thinking about them, that you care about them. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out conversation. You don't have to sit for 45 minutes on the phone. You don't have to, take a lot of time out of your day. It's literally just go, drop it off, and leave. So small things like that are really great baby steps to encourage people to understand and want to grasp the concept of extending hospitality to others and creating those connections and community.
That's great because you could develop a community just to do that very thing. You could have three or
Yep.
four friends that you gather together. One of you is going to put together the bags, the other one is going to drive by and do the drive by fruiting if it's a bag of fruit or whatever you're
Right.
dropping by, and then make sure that you have that picture, and the other person could maybe send the note, make the notes to go with them, the thoughtfulness. So you could do this in partnership with other people, so it's not an overwhelming thing and it's more fun. So the
Yes.
best way to overcome your loneliness and your fear of reaching out is to get other people with you and reach out to those who need to hear your love.
Absolutely. And we do that quite often actually. We also have a what's called the pink bag ministry. And so we put bags together for homeless women in Los Angeles. And so we will get a group of our ladies together. We'll put on Pure Flix or some kind of a romance movie that's kind of fun and lighthearted. And we just get our assembly line or we'll have music playing, we'll have a snack table, and we just start assembling bags, and then everybody will take like two, three, or four bags or whatever we have, divided them out, and we'll just keep them in our car, and then be able to pass them out as we need to. So we like to get the girls together quite a bit actually.
So when you're getting a gathering of people to come into your house for an event, a party, just a casual gathering, what are some of your favorite tips for making that space welcoming?
Oh, yeah. Again, we get this question a lot, actually, especially when we get the cleaning question a lot, like, what do I do when people are coming over last minute and I only have a couple of minutes to get everything prepared? If you like to cook and stuff like that, there's a lot of dishes that you can make that you can pre make and you can freeze them. Like, I make this great chocolate chip pumpkin bread. So I usually always have a loaf or two or three in my freezer, and you can take it out an hour or two before anybody arrives and it's ready to go. So you always have something, on the ready that you could have to serve if you have a last minute gathering or, that you want to put together. As far as cleaning, you'd be surprised at how creative we can get when we come to cleaning. You've got a table full of papers and pens and stuff like that. It's amazing what you can do with, cabinet space in your kitchens, your oven, under the couch, things things that people can't see. If you're not using your oven, throw the stack of papers in there, just remember to take them back out. But if you need a place to put things really quickly that you don't want people to see, we encourage women to do a 15-minute cleanup at night before they go to bed. It's one of those things where you just take 15 minutes. So, whatever you can get done in that 15 minutes, whatever you don't get done, don't stress about it. But that's the time where you go and you pick up your jacket or your shoes or your bag that you may have just dropped on the floor when you first walked into the house. Give the kids a basket, each of them an individual basket. Say, okay, everybody go around and pick up everything that's yours, put it in the basket, and go put it in your room. Make sure your countertops are wiped down. Make sure your table is wiped off. Just grab, and everybody has a different list. Your individual list might look a little bit different, but you want to get like maybe five or six things that are kind of glaring to you on a daily basis, and you just get in the habit every night. 15 minutes, just go and do a sweep through your house and just get that stuff taken care of. So that way you're a little bit more prepared if something were to come up last minute or the next day when you get up, it's not so overwhelming. I mean, there's nothing more to me when I wake up in the morning and I see a sink full of dishes because my kids didn't do their dishes. I'm like, it's nice to be able to get up and go, oh, the sink is nice and clean. I don't have to worry about that right now.
So get it done the night before as much as you can and invest in some dollar store little baskets or
Hmm.
containers that you can throw things into because it looks cleaned up, even if it's just a big pile re-put into another container.
That's right.
So yeah,
That's
hide your
right.
piles. Hide the
That's
piles.
right.
So I love that idea. That's a great tip. And what about people that are worried about reaching out? How do you overcome that fear of connecting with people when you feel a little awkward about doing that? If you happen to be an introvert, and
Right.
since you are, I would like you to speak to that because you can speak to that from personal experience.
Absolutely. Well, this is where Mon Ami comes in, the ministry that Leslie had started a few years ago, which is a really great way to slowly ease yourself into this. The first thing I would suggest is if you are an introvert, find yourself an extrovert friend that would like to do this with you. My extrovert friend is Leslie. So she's very much an extrovert. And so when she first started Mon Ami, she was, a pastor's wife. And so she would meet people in the foyer, but then she'd find out, marriages are falling apart, kids are on drugs, they're losing their house, their jobs, and all these things. And she said, how do we not know this about the people in our community? Well, number one, it's really hard to go through all of that for the 2 minutes that you're meeting in the foyer of a church once a week. And number two, not everybody wants to delve all of that into the middle, of a church, at the time it's happening. So she got her church secretary at the time and said, hey, I want you to make a list of all the ladies that are kind of on the fray of the church. They come late, they leave early, they don't really get involved, and make a list of all of them and get their phone numbers. So Leslie would call them and she would say, hey, this is Leslie and, the pastor's wife. And I just wanted to know, do you have 45 minutes? And if you do, I'm going to bring the party to you. So what she would do is she would take her basket, just a regular, picnic basket. She'd put her fine china in there. She'd put linens. She'd put a little snack or a treat. She'd put her, coffee and tea. And then she'd include a little gift with a little note to the lady that she was going to see. And she just would say, thank you for your time. And then she would go to the woman's house, or she would invite the woman to her house. Well, she would lay this whole set out. She'd unpack her basket, lay it all out on their coffee table, and then she would stop and she would say, now just tell me about yourself. Now, when she went to these, what we call Mon Ami teas, she would always bring somebody with her. So at the time, she would bring like their secretary, Jackie, and the two of them would go together. So right now, the lady that they were meeting would not only make the connection with Leslie, she would make the connection with Jackie. She would say, just tell me about yourself. And the woman would just talk for 45 minutes, telling her everything about herself. At the end, she would pray, and then they would go. And then she would, fill out her little book and say, okay, we met with so and so. These are her prayer requests. And, how can I follow up? And she would kind of write notes about, what she could do next. And then the next time she would follow up with her, but then she would send Jackie and have Jackie bring somebody with her. So then now she was creating another connection. So this is where, as an introvert, if you can get plugged into a group, like we have Mon Ami chapters all over the country and actually around the world. So, if you were to call our corporate headquarters or email us, you would get me or Leslie, and we would direct you to your chapter leader for where it was that you were meeting. And so these groups are actually already there. So if you're an introvert and you're really looking to make those connections with your community and expanding, your circle of friends, this is a great way to do it. But you already have somebody built in that can do this with you, and it makes it so much easier. It always makes it more fun. I mean, when women get together, we just laugh, we have fun. That's just the way women are. We're gatherers, and we're talkers, and and we like to entertain. Even the most person who says, oh, I don't like to entertain people, I'm an introvert. Are you kidding? I love it. Everybody loves to be around a group of people when they're having fun. Doesn't matter how introverted you are. So it's a great way to get connected. Getting connected in one of those groups is a great way to expand your community. And we always say you got to find your tribe.
So is Mon Ami for all age groups? And how would people connect with Mon Ami?
Yeah, absolutely. It is for everybody. We do have several different age groups. We have our Mon Ami ladies, which is 18 and above. And those are, our mature adults. We have our Mon Ami teens, which is usually about 12, 12 or 13 until you're about 18. And then we have what's called our little tickled pink girls. And they're our youngest, which start probably at, 7 or 8. And it goes through until they age out into the next group. And it really is about, and each stage, we focus in teaching on different things. With the younger girls, we really focus on etiquette. We focus on teaching them conflict resolution. We teach them about communication, how to properly greet people, because when you learn basic skills like that, we've noticed in younger girls that they develop higher senses of confidence and self-assuredness, and then it helps them when there are conflicts at school. And so it really is, it is for everybody. And if you want to get connected into that group somewhere in your area, you can go to monamiministry.com. And yeah, you can reach out to us there, or you can actually email us at info@monamiministry.com as well. And we will reply to that and get you connected into a local chapter.
I love that ministry. I think that's really important for every community. And I'm glad that you're sharing that with the audience today. How can people connect with the Heart of Hospitality magazine?
Our magazine is it's seasonal, so it comes out at the beginning ish of each season. So we have winter, spring, summer, fall, and then we do have a holiday issue, which is usually a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker, and it's got all our holiday tips and tricks, and it covers all the holidays. So not just Christmas. We do Thanksgiving and harvest and all the fun stuff. You can check that out at heartofhospitalitymagazine.com, and you can get your subscription there. And we are digital, so that way you can just kind of tuck it in your little pocket with your phone and take it with you everywhere you go. It makes it super easy.
So appreciate all the wonderful ministry that you do, Deanna, to help us love one another better. I hope that all of you listening enjoyed this and were inspired to reach out and welcome people. Maybe invite other people into your home or go to someone's house and help them to feel loved in order to overcome your own loneliness. And of course, I also hope that you subscribe and come back for the next episode of Flourishment.